again. This week I thought I'd tell you a little bit about shadows because it's one of the things you need to know. So you come this way. I'm going to use an example of a painting I did, which is of the Wallace Monument in Stirling. Now, if you look really close, I've been very brave in the tone. I've gone really quite dark, but you can actually still see the colour underneath. I did this variegated wash across the whole of the outline, and then on top of that I painted the shadow. So I'm just going to give you a couple of hints on what colours to use. So if I get rid of that, it goes back to this painting I was doing last week of Inverness Castle. There's the salt technique I showed you last week, and here's this lovely variegated wash which I showed you. Now, what I need to do, especially with any buildings, I need to get some nice strong shadows in there. So if I can find my brush, which I've lost, there it is. The colours I use are alizarin crimson and Prussian blue. I quite like a purpley shadow. This is what's called a staining colour, which means it's quite transparent, and so is this one. So I think they make a great combination. Something like a cadmium red's too opaque. This is also going to give you a nice purple because this is not a bright purpley blue, it's a greeny blue. So that'll just knock the edge off the purple. So what you'll get if I do that, and if Tarantino here would come down to see, that's the mix I'm doing, and you can see it's quite dilute, but at the same time it's got a little bit of strength. Load your brush, remember, important thing, work your board so that it's on a slope. That's really important. This, I'll just do an example on this, just pin it down. The most important thing here is not to scrape this surface. If I scrape this surface with too small a brush and too thick a paint, it will disturb all this. So what I'm doing, I'm loading my brush. We've done this before. It's this flat wash, remember. Keep loading it until you've got this nice dribbly bottom going. The dribbly bottom's really important, says she. Right, again, see how it's starting to dry up a bit? Just keep adding to it. And at this point, you can breathe, because I know it's quite scary. You'll see I'm going in with quite a dark tone. The biggest mistake amateur painters do is that they don't go in dark enough, because I know it's really scary, but my advice is feel the fear and do it anyway. Now you see, look, that bead's starting to dry out. Load it up and just take a breath. You can't quite go away and make a cup of tea, and you just hope at this point the phone doesn't ring, because invariably that happens. Now you can take that all the way down to the bottom. What actually I quite like to do is just take it down so far, and then I like to add a little bit of water to the mix of the paint to make it just a little bit more dilute, not too much because you don't want one of those awful tide marks. But it just fades it out a little bit, and I think it makes a nicer looking shadow. Can you see that there? It just starts to fade out. I'll show it on the castle at the moment. So you've got this nice dark tone there. Now if I just move that down, if you come in here, you can see that's how I did the shadow there. I just let it fade out at the bottom. So there we are. That's how you do shadows. Have fun, and thank you for watching. Bye.